You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, Sudbury. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh, and great to be here today. Thanks for joining us on the radio, CKLU 96.7 FM. CKLU.ca, if you have the Firefox browser downloaded on your device, you can listen to us. If you download the Radio Player Canada app, you can listen to us that way as well. Also, on Facebook Live, good morning, all you visitors that we have each and every day. And on YouTube Live, we have now our starting to get some traction on YouTube Live, which is kind of neat. It's some people, you can get YouTube on your cable, as Miles, who's on the show pretty much every day, pointed out that your cable subscriber, whether it's Fibe or Eastlink, there's a YouTube option there. You could watch us right on your TV. You don't even have to have us on your phone or on your computer. So it's pretty cool that way. And you don't have to watch it live even because it's recorded. So you can watch it later. Now, the only way to actually participate in the show, which we do welcome and invite you to do, is watch live, because then you can have your comments as part of the show. Keep us on track too, and keep us honest and factual with your comments, because we don't have a patent on all the facts in the world. So thanks for being a part of the show and keeping us accountable, which is very important. And thanks for liking and sharing Sudbury News Talk. We really appreciate it. It's the only way to get the word out to as many people, to create as large of a conversation, a community conversation, that we possibly can. So thank you very much. And also thanks to our news organizations that make it possible for us to have this show, because basically we're sharing the news stories of the day from your organizations: CTV Northern Ontario, CBC Northern Ontario, Sudbury.com, Sudbury Star. And thanks to all of you for doing what you're doing and keeping local journalism alive. And that's what we're here, part of the ecosystem of trying to keep people informed in the community, and then also trying to have the community be part of the conversation. So we're basically like a mediator between all of these entities. So speaking of mediation and somebody keeping us transparent and accountable, in the studio in the hot seat today, thankfully, not every Friday do we have the opportunity of having Billy here. But Billy is here, thankfully, just due to serendipitousness.
Unforeseen circumstances?
Yes.
Well, they were kind of foreseen, but...
Foreseen, unforeseen circumstances. Billy is here today. As Jerome put it yesterday, the dynamic duo, which I thought was interesting.
I do like that.
I do like it too. It's positive. And, what would it be with all the viewers and the listeners as well? It'd be the dynamic... I don't know. Is there a word for the dynamic community?
Yeah, I guess community would be the best word.
Yeah, the dynamic community. It doesn't have the same beginning letter. It's not doesn't flow as easy, but
yeah,
the dynamic community.
We'll figure one.
We'll come up with a C word,
yeah. A
good one that can encapsulate that. But yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. Lots of news to get to today. Today, we got some weather, we got sports, and then we got tons of headlines and some really cool things. So Billy came up with a really cool idea. We're going to go through all the things we share on our Facebook page, and then also we're going to, if you see a particular story that you really want to unpack or whatever, you can let us know that, and then we can talk about that, because sometimes we might skip over a story and not realize that that's one that you'd really like to get to or whatever. So if you just want to comment that. Yeah, well, thank you very much, Jerome. And thank you for being on the show each and every day. You are a part of the show, and you have a lot of relevant things to say. So, on that note, welcome our Facebook and YouTube monitors. Thanks for being here. You have a job to do, and we're grateful for the platforms. We very, very much are. Without them, I don't know. We would just pretty much be a radio show, and this allows us to be, live stream and have people watch later. Also a podcast along with the radio show. So we're really grateful for the platforms, and they definitely are a game changer for us. So we'll be right back after a little bit of weather. Yes, and thankfully we don't have any of those dreaded heat warnings anymore, because we're over that. We've had some much needed precipitation to combat our garden was looking a little bit forlorn there for a while. All the vegetation was kind of looking a little bit, crumpled, but looks a lot better now with the water that we just had. So currently it's 13 degrees, sunny, 96% humidity, and today we'll have the early this morning sunny, and then a mix of sun and cloud, 30% chance of showers actually late this afternoon, risk of a thunderstorm actually in the afternoon as well. And the wind could be gusting to about 50 kilometers today. The high will be 27, humidex 30. So hot nonetheless, which I appreciate. Tonight, partly cloudy, 30% chance of showers early this evening with a risk of thunderstorm. Wind is southwest, 20 kilometers, gusting to 40, becoming light this evening, low of 17. And then our long range, you got your tomorrow chance of showers, 30%. So there's 70% chance of not having showers. And then Sunday for sure, calling for rain. Tomorrow, it's going to be 29. I don't know what the humidex, it'll probably be more than that. And then Sunday, it'll be 19, rain, cloudy on Monday. And then we don't know after that what it's going to be, but there's your long range. And then you got a bit of your satellite here to check out. We'll just put it on live. That's what it looks like in our skies over us. Current view of that. So weather is positive. It's summer. We can still enjoy it. It's still here. And there is still some sun, so get out there and enjoy the sun before it rains, and calculate that there might be some rain in the schedule as well, just in case, and prepare for it. We'll be right back with a little bit of sports right after this. The Sudbury Spartans are going to be in action this weekend in the Sioux, as you can see. Spartans venture to the Sioux, aiming to keep perfect record intact. And the Sioux Steelers are known for their tough defense, so it won't be just because the Spartans are doing so well, being undefeated this year, doesn't mean that it's going to be a walk in the park. The Sudbury Spartans control their own destiny heading into their final regular season game at the Rocky DiPietro Field in Sault Ste. Marie tomorrow with a perfect 6-0 record. First place overall in the Northern Football Conference and home field advantage throughout the playoffs on the line. So I guess if they don't win, I don't know. Wouldn't they still have home field advantage? Just because if they go 7-1, I think they still would. But anyways, maybe not. It would be easy to look ahead and start picturing a run for the NFC title. But despite all the possible distractions, Sudbury Spartans head coach Junior LeBrose expects his team to be focused on Saturday like they've been all season. And LeBrose says it's exciting for the club. It's exciting for those that follow or have been following the Sudbury Spartans for a while. But we're looking past anyone. But we're not looking past anyone. We haven't done it all We haven't done it all season, and the formula is going to stay that way. We play everybody like they're the top team in the league, and that every game is like a playoff game. Well, very great strategy from the coach, because that's the Achilles heel of most successful teams is they underestimate the other team when they're doing really well, and then they let down their guard. And it's the very thing that got them to where they were in the first place by playing very competitively. It would be wise for the 5-0 Spartans. I thought it was 6-0, but anyways, let's see up here. I thought it was 6-0. I thought I read that, but I could be wrong. Yeah, 6-0. But it would be impossible for the wise for the 5-0 Spartans not to look past the Steelers, who sport a record of 2-2-1, but have given up just 61 points in 5 games, or slightly more than 12 points per game. The Sudbury beat the Northern Rivals 14-8 back on June 18th, but the Steelers have added two Hall of Famers to their roster in defense lineman Brandon Lewis and running back Josh Goche. So anyways, tough component. Good luck to the Sudbury Spartans in playing against the Sioux Steelers this Saturday. If you are able to make the trek to the Sioux, you can go and support the Spartans that way. Check out Sudbury Sports Talk on Sudbury News Talk on Monday, and we'll be able to give you a little bit of an update on the playoff schedule, given what's going to take place this Saturday, tomorrow, in the Sioux. We'll be right back with more Sudbury News Talk on Sudbury News Talk, CKLU 96.7 FM. There you go. You can hear the train in the background just tooting that, they support the show.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm living in a Johnny Cash song here.
Hear that train a-coming. That's not a very good Johnny Cash impersonation. I don't have a deep enough voice, unfortunately.
It was decent, though.
Yeah. With the mic, though, I can get a little bit lower of a voice with the podcast mic. It's a little bit better. It's got that broadcast.
It's that large diaphragm sound.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
so good news today.
There's a lot of good news today. Let's talk some good news.
We have looks like a pretty big story. New safe consumption site.
Yes, let's get to that.
So
I'll show it on the screen.
That term consumption site.
Yes.
Kind of jumps out. It's like, hey, that's not something I've seen before very often.
Consumption site. Now, we talked about it a lot here on the show that it was coming, and now it's here. So we'll have a video to play about that, along with the story. So a video from Sudbury Star and the story from Sudbury.com on that one.
Laurentian president to step down as university nears end of insolvency proceedings. Did we talk about that yesterday?
Remember we said
we had a headline of that.
There needs to be some accountability was what we were talking about, and there was really no accountability, but it looks like someone's going to be stepping down here. President Robert Hache will be stepping down after all of the CCAA process is done. So he'll step down.
Yeah,
interesting.
And this one I kind of went through. The Halfway Lake hikers saved by app that allowed police to find them.
That's interesting.
And it was. I did learn something when I read that. So
yeah, maybe we'll get more to that then.
We should definitely cover that.
Cool. If we don't, well, hopefully we can, because you never know. Sometimes
there's a couple kernels that are really interesting in that. So,
yeah, I go off on rants sometimes, so maybe I'll just hold off on my ranting today.
Yeah. And a bit of a mystery. They say you can download the app even if you're lost. I think that's what it said.
Well, if you have cell service, yeah, you could.
Yeah, if you have cell service, but
if you're lost without cell service, good luck.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
If you have cell service, why wouldn't you just call somebody?
Oh, no. That's funny. Okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, hopefully we can get to that.
I'm surrounded by trees. There's a big green one to my left.
Yeah, just go by 500 trees, and then it's the one with the broken limb. Take a left on that one. You have to give your directions. Yeah, I think that the whole idea of the app is that they'll know your direction better or something, where you're at. Anyways, okay.
And this is one of my favorites of the day. Sudbury-based medical technology company secures $3.8 million in funding. And it's kind of relevant to what we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
How you kind of solved your headache problem in one fell swoop of getting testing and finding you need to drink more water.
Yeah, that's true. I went to my doctor and I had headaches a lot. Billy has headaches quite often, and I used to have headaches a lot too. So when I was speaking with my doctor one time, and he said, does it bother you? Does light bother you? I said, no. He goes, does sound tend to bother you? You know, are you sensitive to sound? I said, not really. He goes, do you have sensitive like skin and things like that? Like, overly sensitive? I said, no, not really. He goes, Well, since you're sensitive to light and sound, you're sensitive to sound and your skin is sensitive, I'm going to prescribe this medication for you. And honestly, I said, you just said the opposite of what I just told you. And now you're going to prescribe me this medication. And then I went to a friend after and I said, I got these headaches. This is what happened with the doctor. And they said, well, how much water do you drink a day? And I said, I don't think I drink any water at all. I drink a lot of pop. I drink, juice, other things, but I don't drink any water. They said, well, that's your problem. You're dehydrated. And that's why you get headaches. And that was the solution. I just started drinking water now. So this medical device, hopefully, will be similar to
I wanted to grab the phrase from the... I'll just say this line from it here.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
This is sort of the connection to that. Will empower consumers, help them take control of their own health, transform access to blood testing, and improve timely decision-making between consumers and their healthcare providers. So it's kind of like the idea of the, taking control of your own health.
Yeah.
I think there's a trend
So what is this device then? I know now that we're talking about this a little bit. So this device will allow people to do that?
It said 2 out of 3 people want to be able to test their blood at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can test your blood at home. Verve said, let me just enlarge this here. Said it and focused on creating the first of its kind consumer-oriented, affordable, high-quality blood chemistry analyzer with disposable tests for home use. So this will help people to measure a wide range of analytes, such as cholesterol, vitamin levels, and hormones.
Huh. Well, there you go.
I like things that kind of go in that direction.
Yep.
Because, I think it's kind of important to at least have that, personal investment into, you kind of leave it. I find this happens to me in life in general. If I don't take the personal responsibility, like there's always like a little decision, okay, I could just leave it in the hands there. They're the experts. Not everyone has the same trip, but it seems like more often than not, it's like, oh, I should have at least educated myself. I should have been more, at least making an attempt to, like not just hand over all of the power kind of thing. For sure.
And it's interesting that you say that this particular device tests your blood at home, because the person who actually told me that I needed to drink more water was a live blood analysis person looking at my cells and realizing my cells were like screaming out for hydration. They were dehydrated, and she could see that in the microscope of my cells. And a lot of really great information coming through here. Jerome's saying we need 3 liters a day. Miles is saying drink 1 liter clean water, because we're 50% of our body. Anyways, drink 1 liter of clean water per 50 body pounds per day. Yeah. So anyways, that's why you guys are here, part of the show. And I do know about this company, by the way, because I had some inside information that I wasn't able to talk about, being part of the video promotion of it as it was looking for funding. So it's really cool. Theranos, is that the name of the company of the girl that was basically like a female Steve Jobs? There's a documentary about her, But she didn't have a legitimate solution. Her product actually didn't work. It actually didn't deliver on what she said. You're supposed to be able to analyze your blood at home, and you can do all the blood tests like a lab could do, but at home. This is not exactly like that. It can do less things, so they can deliver on what they're promising. But yeah, the idea of testing your blood at home is really cool because you can look at your health and then make these decisions, and understand what you need to do, whether it's to eat healthier or what you're low in. Maybe you need more iron, whatever it is, So this is a really cool thing. I think it's a step in the right direction to be able to analyze your own blood.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I've come across like a lot of stories of people who've had almost like lifelong ailments.
Yeah,
and then they discover like a really simple solution that they just did not put the two things together.
It's crazy.
It's like, and there was one guy who had these, I forget, like almost like arthritis, like this condition, and got diagnosed with all kinds of different names. And then one day, he just had a very like regimented life. He always did the same thing. He got up, he ate eggs, whatever.
Yep.
Later in his life, he removed the eggs from his diet, and
voila. It. He was allergic to eggs or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Something in the eggs that it just caused whatever problem that he had, whatever illness. Crazy. I know. And that's one thing you need to look at is your diet. 100%. Like our daughter diagnosed with autism, and we went on a mission after that to find out not only what caused it, which we were able to unpack and know. Now it was very controversial back then, and now it's even more controversial now, given recent events. But diet was a huge thing. We had to she would get these huge rashes and things. And we had to say, okay, let's eliminate one type of food and see if that's going to change. And we had to do it over a month because you can't just do it for a day. You have to get it out of your system and see if that made it. And then we had to take out another kind of food and see how that, whether it was dairy or wheat or whatever have you, because part of autism is something called leaky gut, and there's all kinds of things that go along with that. And so, long story short, something caused the autism, and then we were able, over time, through that kind of process and other things, to now have, she was at the time diagnosed nonverbal, low functioning autistic. But she's almost 18 years old, and most people wouldn't even tell that she now has autism at all. We tell them, and they're like, "Oh, really? I couldn't tell." And that is because mainly of what you just said, Billy, is those kind of things about diet and just common things. It wasn't a medication. It wasn't anything. It wasn't some kind of medical device or whatever. It was just old-fashioned, intuitive parenting and seeking out, these types of solutions that were dietary in nature. And that's really, and my heart goes out to those parents today that are seeking help other ways, and it's not working, and they have, their lives are full of, taking care of the child and the symptoms and all that. So anyways, yeah, so that's how it goes.
And there seems to be kind of like a tendency to almost demonize that sort of that process. Like, if you don't just sort of like say what the authorities, if there's any questioning of that, or even second opinions seem to be kind of challenged.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the municipal water too, they put things in it, so which are controversial to talk about, and at the same time, but anything you put in your food could affect you. So if you're putting anything in water, anything in food, and a lot of processed foods too. Yeah.
Because everybody's different too, and some people just have way more sensitive to other things than other people. So
yeah, exactly. And Tina said she had to do much more than diet, which is true. There's motor functioning things to do. There were exercises and teaching. There was IBI, which was really huge. It's a different way to teach someone who has autism, because what happens is you have an allergic reaction to something, and it shorts out your neural pathways. And when they're shorted out, they now look for other ways to get around to do the same thing. Well, your brain tells your hand to pick up a spoon. Well, that's easy for someone who doesn't have autism or doesn't have an allergic, a neuro short out, because the pathways are already there to do that. Now, someone with autism has to recreate. It's like someone who had a stroke and they have to relearn to talk. It's the exact same thing. They have to find ulterior ways to get around. And that's why they could seem quirky or different in their ways of they think, because their brains are having an alternate way of figuring out some of the things we might find really basic to do.
Yeah, I just I read this book recently, and it was written by a autistic, and he grew up thinking everyone around him thought he was low functioning. Yeah. Like nonverbal, and I forget the word that they described it, but basically he described something where they'd ask him to pick up a ball, and he would just kind of go and bang his head on the door or something. Yeah. They didn't realize until he was about 20, and they found someone with an innovative way of being able to get him to communicate and develop this communication. But he actually learned to read, and he would have been able to write if he controlled his motor skills. But basically, he's describing that incident, saying, I know that they're telling me to pick up the ball, but my body is betraying me. My body is getting up and is going to the door to bang his head, and I'm sort of screaming at my body like, exactly, what are you doing? Don't go back over there, pick up the ball. Well, that's these neural pathways again, right? It's like your brain is telling you, but it's not transferring to motor function. Yeah. And that's something you have to repair that, and it takes therapy to do that. And Tina was just saying, my wife, that it was a lot of detox and homeopathy that she used, certain vitamins, things like that, along with these exercises and things like that. So anyways, there's a lot of things, and I told my wife that she really should become a consultant to people. She just doesn't have the self-confidence for some reason. But I'm like, oh, well, you could help tons and tons and tons of people out there. If you just put it out there that we found a way to do it. It might not work for you, but you could give it a chance. And but anyways, it is, I can't force anyone to do something against their will. But thanks, Tina, for letting us know there obviously was more to it than just a simple Band-Aid solution. So, wow, that was good. We unpacked that one, new medical device coming out of Sudbury. So we'll dig into that one a little deeper later. Oh, I don't know. I think we did a deep dive. Yeah. So, SBCA seeks fosterers in the Sudbury area. So if you're a pet lover, you want to get out there and support the SBCA, because they're constantly looking for, people to take pets and love them, give them a home. This was an interesting story too, right? In 1978, a man fixated on a supposed conspiracy against the mayor of Nickel Center went into the council chambers and shot him, tried to assassinate him. That's interesting. That's on Sudbury.com. That sounds like a made-for-TV movie. That doesn't happen every day. Yeah. And then there was Judy Strawn wrote a really great article with Vicky Gilhula and Rob Strawn as well, writing the article in the Sudbury Star that we talked about yesterday about CKLU. Well, she wrote a play about the missing mayor. I don't know if you remember that at all. There was a play about a true story about our mayor that went missing. We actually have a storied past of mayors that could be actually put into a little bit of a movie, each one of them. And the play was really good, really well written. Is that kind of like a theme for Sudbury? Is there? Oh, no. Maybe you don't want to be mayor of Sudbury. There was a video I watched yesterday of a candidate that maybe we'll play when we have more time. But you skipped over a couple of the stories here, Billy. I don't know if you knew that or not. But how was that possible? The city of Greater Sudbury receives OLG payment of $516,000 from Sudbury Downs racetrack slots. Right. For the first quarter. For the first quarter, exactly. So that means
quarter. What is that? That would be
going to be about 2
million?
2 million if it stays on.
And some stays
course.
on track.
Yeah.
So get out there and gamble, everyone, so we can get more money for the city. Need to fix our roads. I'm just kidding, by the way. I don't encourage or endorse gambling by any means. Although my mom seems to think that she's coming out on top. She lives in Sault Ste. Marie, goes to the casino quite a bit. And anyways, she seems to, every time she goes, claims she's won. And she claims like over time she's actually ahead of the game. The house isn't winning in her case, which I honestly don't know if scientifically possible or not, but
it's
a claim.
Possible.
It's a claim. There you go. So let's, do we want to now get into some of these stories and maybe first start with the video on the safe consumption site?
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. And I'll just get her all ready to go and share my screen. So there's a Sudbury Star, I believe, interviewed those that are involved with the safe consumption site in downtown Sudbury, and then Sudbury.com did a story on it as well. So we'll watch the video and then we'll unpack it a little bit. Here you go.
So my name is Neil Stephen. I'm the manager of consumption and treatment services with Réseau Access Network here at the safe consumption site.
And what happened today?
Today we took the opportunity for a quick ribbon cutting and celebration. The community drug strategy partners, City of Greater Sudbury, the province, as well as multiple allied agencies, we've been working on for years to improve the harm reduction services that we have available within the city and to get a safe consumption site up and running, which both helps to reduce the harm for people who do use drugs, and it stops the fatalities associated with drug criminalized or poison drugs in the city.
Okay, and I understand it's not actually open yet, but when do you hope to have this open?
Yeah, we're not quite open yet. This was more a celebration or a ceremonial type of event. We're hoping to be open mid to late August as our the last of our staff move into Sudbury to start their training in drugs.
Okay, is there anything else you want to add that I haven't asked you?
The purpose of harm reduction sites, I know there's a lot of people who tend to get a little bit nervous about safety and security around harm reduction sites. A lot of those myths were dispelled well over 30 years ago. So traditionally around safe consumption sites, crime actually tends to go down. Discard and harm reduction supplies in public tends to go down, and open use tends to also go down. So the services that we're offering here, people are coming in with pre-obtained drugs that they bought on their own, and we are providing a safe, empathetic place where people can come and use those drugs. And in the event of an adverse event or an overdose, healthcare professionals are on hand to respond right away. And that tends to actually not only reduce a lot of the extra strain on the healthcare system, but it actually tends to be a much more economical model than a traditional hard on drugs.
Hi, my name is Tammy Berger. I'm 46 years old. I work at the CTS, the Safe and Consumption Site treatment site. My job here is a harm reduction worker. I hand out paraphernalia to people that use. I've been there, done it. I'm doing great. If it wasn't for Access Réseau to help me go point me out to a lot of places to help me get off the drugs. Now it's lived experience. I was on it for a long time. I have lost my children because of it. If this place was better and I had a place to go and help myself get off the drugs, because they would point me to another place and I would have been safer. I wouldn't have to be running around hiding in places, going in bathrooms, and then getting in trouble all the time, and like, you know, because I'm in there too long, or so I cleaned myself up and I did a really good thing, and now I'm here working at Réseau Access Network at the CTS, and I love it. And I had the harm reduction worker. It's just great. I love it.
Yeah, so
that sounds promising.
That's it. Yeah, well, it sounds like they're there to they're open now, and you've heard from them as to what they do and what their objectives are for the city and what they feel the benefits will be for the city. So according to Sudbury.com, what are they reporting on it?
I think it's kind of behind the grocery store downtown. What's
it
that?
is
Independent?
The independent grocery store. It's in between independent grocery store and downtown, in that kind of parking lot area where you're behind the beer store.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, they seem to make a pretty good case for it.
They do. It's anything.
So,
It's like when you're in court, right? The prosecution's going to make a really great case, and the defense can make a really great case.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to Sudbury.com, what are some of the things that they're saying about it?
Let's see. I think it's a lot of that.
It opened yesterday.
Yeah.
They had the ribbon cutting ceremony, which we watched.
We are facing a poisoning drug crisis in our community, and this is supervised consumption will save many lives.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. There's a little bit of a different kind of off story, but one of those ones that kind of stuck with me, and kind of like a friend of a relative friend who I kind of got to know some years back, who was in the thick of that culture, mentioned to me. It's just going through my filters right now, and it's coming up the other side going, Billy, don't talk about that.
Oh, that's your little whispering voice is telling you not to mention it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I get that a lot.
I'll just say that like in that world, there is some, like when there's bad stuff going around, sometimes it's not completely accidental.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm glad you brought that up, because I am going to bring that, and my filter is saying it's fine because I've already filtered through it. But let's just kind of see what happened here, and then I want to get to what you just said, because I think it's very pertinent. So various stakeholders were on hand there. You saw I saw Jamie West, I saw Franz Jelena there, all masked up. Everyone had their masks on, which was really safe in a safe consumption site, right? And you had your representatives from public health, Sudbury districts. I don't know if the director was there, the one that made almost $1 million in 2022 or 2021. I don't know if they were there. You had the Community Drug Strategy Committee, Vale, and Wheaton Precious Metals. So these are the stakeholders. The facility received no provincial funding, but has received $1 million in funding from the city, as well as $100,000 from Vale, $30,000 from Wheaton. The idea behind the supervised consumption site was floated decades ago, back in 1996. But it was only after the opioid crisis really took off that governments began to look seriously at the model. Since 1996, the movement has been directed, but since in 2018, the community drug strategy has moved the program forward. And the executive director of RESO Access Network told Sudbury.com in an interview at the event. So that's what they were told by the director of that organization. Now, back to your comment. So sometimes nefarious things happen when there's problems in the community, and the way we actually try to handle them could be more detrimental than positive.
Could be. What do you think that'll do for downtown? You think that's kind of like an answer to, this sort of growing chorus of like, downtown's got to be cleaned up. What are we going to do? Does it kind of move them a little bit, into a concentrated, I guess these questions are like, is it sort of beneficial for them too? Does the numbers, the science actually reflect that? And again, these people were making a pretty good case that they have a supportive environment to kind of get weaned off. They're not kind of like always on the run, hiding.
I'd like to know,
using bathrooms,
for sure,
public bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah, they're not doing that, but so I guess they're just having it in one place. I thought it was a little bit contradictory or whatever. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but she said, a place to come off of it, a safe place to go to come off of it and get clean. I'd like to know more about the strategy for that, rather than just giving, a place and the substances to inject into yourself. What are the processes for having somebody encouraging them to get clean? Like what is in place other than giving people a safe place, giving them the drugs, giving them clean needles, making sure there's medical staff around if they overdose? Now what? So now when they're done, what's being done to help these people get off of it? Mm-hmm. So did you hear anything in there? I was looking for that. I didn't really hear any of that.
What I kind of glean from it is they'll be in the orbit of these workers who've kind of been through it. And I think that's probably a good thing, that they'll have, some camaraderie there and somebody who's been out on the other side, and might be able to offer some guidance that way. And
that's what I mean.
And again, probably some support and a little bit of hope, because I think, part of the problem is it's like these people probably don't have a lot of
support networks,
good stuff in their lives. And this is like, a way to escape it. So if they can build some kind of community and, friendships and things to develop.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a more holistic approach. If someone feels loved and supported, that can go a long way. Mm-hmm. Now, does this say love and support, or does it just say, we're trying to fix a problem, your problem, so we're gonna let you do your problem here instead because you're a nuisance in our community, so we're just gonna get you in one place to do it. Now, we could talk about this all the day long, and I remember we had one person, Jason, chime in. He ran for the Ontario Party, one of the new parties in the provincial election. Very vocal on social media. And he said that in Alberta, they actually shut the programs down because they found they were more detrimental than they were positive. Now, that's just Alberta, and I'm just saying something that happened, and I'm not saying I'm on one side of the fence or another, and I'm not saying I'm an expert. However, I'm going to give you a little bit of history here. The Chinese have a long, long memory. And the British, one of the ways the British were able to overcome the Chinese, or basically subdue them as a possible enemy, was a strategy to get them all hooked on opium. And so the country, they had an opioid epidemic in China, but it was introduced by the British as an economic, military, political war tactic. It was a tactic to get everybody on drugs. And when you're on drugs, are you as sharp? Like, let's say you were a soldier and you were on heroin. Could you be a good fighter? Let's say you were a politician and you were on heroin. Could you make really good decisions to lead your community? Let's say you were a father or a mother and you're on heroin. Could you be a good parent? So a way to really take down a society from the inside is to basically introduce as many drugs as possible into them. And it's basically a war tactic. So if we start with that, and now let's look at how you can introduce it politically. It's got to be okay in our system. You have to make the argument in order to introduce it. So it has to go through these organizations, and we have to introduce it through the media, through politics, through some of our gatekeepers to keep our people safe. As long as you introduce it through them and they are okay with it, it now gets to the people. Now it's where it needs to be. So let's say I'm having trouble in my marriage and just whatever, and I'm driving down the road and I'm contemplating suicide, let's say, or something. You know what I mean? I've never done drugs in my life, but you know what I mean? There's a safe consumption site there. I'm just gonna go and, gonna put that stuff in my arm, and now I'm addicted for the rest of my life because it's there and it's easy and it's I never would have been able to find it any other way, but it's right there. You can do it if you want. I'm not saying that's going to happen either, but it's an option now. It never was before. It's like the legalization of marijuana. I don't have nothing against people who choose to do marijuana. I just know that when you do it, you're not yourself. You do make different decisions than you normally would. You eat a lot. You're more subdued. You're not as sharp. And so if you can do this to a society and make them the effects of drugs and have it all, have the society Under the Influence, let's say, which is one of my favorite shows on CBC, by the way, by a fellow Sudburian, talking about marketing and influencing people in many ways. That's the way I look at this. I look at this as it's really sad for our society that this is one of the solutions. We don't have any housing. Like there's not a bunch of builders going out there saying, let's build tiny homes for these individuals so they can have the food, the shelter, the clothing, and, a community that they really need. No, let's just get them all together and give them safe drugs. I think maybe that is part of it, could be part of the solution, but I don't think this is in and of itself the solution. That's just my opinion.
You make some good points. And I think that's how the battleground of life is fought. So let's assume that is true, that there is elements, with that kind of motive in mind. I think if it's countered by, sort of like the people that we're witnessing and the people that I know who do have a lot of love and compassion, if, I think the numbers have to be measured here. Like you said, out in Alberta, it was not successful. If there's a way to change it so that it is successful,
that's a good idea. Yes.
Then that is a win for society.
Exactly, 100%. So just because it was broke in Alberta doesn't mean it needs to be broke here, and there could be innovative things to tweak the program and make it more successful. Exactly. Hopefully, we're on the way to do that. We talked at length about the new boss at the airport yesterday, but we didn't really get a chance to talk about the new CEO of Science North. We knew there was a new CEO, but we didn't really unpack it. So we'll do that right after this. And here we are. The new CEO of Science North has finally selected a new chief executive officer. The Sudbury Science Centre has been on the hunt for a replacement for a long time CEO after Guy Labine resigned in March to become CEO of the Arizona Science Center. Now that's a really, really good move, I guess. Arizona, not bad. Dr. Stephen Kozar, the chair of the Science North Board of Trustees, made the announcement yesterday. LaRose, the organization's director of development, was chosen unanimously by Science North's Board of Trustees following an intensive international search led by an external recruitment company. However, they landed on a born and raised in Northern Ontario solution. The press release from Science North has Ashley LaRose crediting her passion for science to, quote, time spent exploring the outdoors coupled with an early interaction with a Science North Blue Coat visit to her hometown of Smooth Rock Falls. LaRose studied biology at the University of Waterloo, graduating with honors bachelor's degree. The release states she worked as a research scientist in various cities across North America until returning to Northern Ontario and settling in Sudbury. So I guess she was here working at at Science North.
Well, that sounds
I thought I read that in another article. I guess she's not from Sudbury. She's from Northern Ontario, Smooth Rock Falls. I like having a scientist be the CEO of a science center.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. But I like the idea of the former one, taking the job in Arizona, because let's say he spent some of his winters down there. He wouldn't have to do that anymore because he lives there.
Oh, is that the case?
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying a lot of people would. Either you go to Florida or you go to Arizona, some of these warm places in the winter. Some of us Sudburians do.
That is, yeah. Sadly to say, I was a little distracted because I came across another headline here.
Oh, no. Well, I was fine.
Anyway, I think that's great. Congratulations.
I was fine to do the heavy lifting there, Billy.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll forgive you once.
I wasn't too sure what I could do with that. Thumbs up. All right.
Exactly. 2 thumbs up.
This is great. But this is Vale announces plans to cut iron ore production. So it seems like a small, innocuous headline
Yeah,
kind
you
of in the
just
middle
think
of the
that.
page. But
Yeah.
you never know. That could have some big implications.
Yeah, we're talking millions here, no?
Yeah, let's see. So roughly 4,000 employees at Vale here. So is that going to affect them?
Well, Vale SA, the world's largest producer of iron ore. I don't know if we knew that or not, that Vale was the largest producer of iron ore in the world, maybe in the universe. They revealed Tuesday it's cutting iron ore production guidance for several reasons, including the sale of its Center West assets, supply chain restrictions, and the impact of lower market prices. Yep. They had the quarterly report issued on Tuesday, and the company said it anticipates iron ore output for the year to be between 310 million tons and 320 MT, whatever that means. Tons, okay? Or is that megatons? Million tons.
Must be.
Down from the previous estimate of 320 to 335, according to Vale's second quarter for 2022 production sales report. Vale is the largest mining company operating in Sudbury with roughly 4,000 employees. The company operates mines, as we all know, in Greater Sudbury and produce more than they produced iron ore for more than 100 years. The quarter two report revealed the nickel production was 24% lower. It's mostly due to scheduled maintenance of our downstream facilities, which was partially offset by strong performance from the mine in Brazil. Because of other mining operations, because of the shutdown, they just figured, you know what? We'll just decrease it for now. We don't need to.
Yeah, shutdown seemed to be
Ramp
a
it up.
common thing there. I
Yeah, they
remember
do.
when my dad was working there, summer shutdown was fairly common for sure.
Yeah. A lot of people can actually get work just for shutdowns, just going in and cleaning things up. And
Right?
it's a really great temporary job for a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. A lot of
So what-
precious metals up here.
Yep. Did we cover, let's see, you covered the SPCA.
We're going to
Anything
cover.
else?
We're going to cover more after this. We're going to
All
come
right.
right back. Yes, and as promised, we're going to cover. There's lots to cover, right?
Well, I'd say we're whittling them down, but...
No, that halfway lake thing.
Oh, the halfway
See,
lake, yeah.
this is the big story we're looking forward to all time, and we got about 7 minutes left to do it. So let's do this.
Well, that should do it.
The Nipissing West OPP officers were able to locate a group of missing hikers at Halfway Lake Provincial Park on July 17th. The trio of hikers, ranging in age of 24 to 26, were from the Greater Toronto area. This is a quote from the OPP, says, with the assistance of the What 3 Words app. I don't know if you all have heard of this app before. What 3 Words app. They were able to locate the 3 missing people.
You know what that name reminded me of?
What?
The Who. You know the band The Who?
I know the band The Who. I'm trying to
Because
think
remember
of
when it first came out and they're called The Who,
yeah.
and you'd sort of follow that. No, what's the band called? And the Who.
Who? Yeah, no, that's what I mean. What
So
are they
it's
called?
It's
Who?
called What 3 Words? And like when I read that, it's like, well,
What are the 3
what
words?
3 words?
Exactly. What are the 3 words? That's interesting, right? And why would they name it What 3 Words? That in and of itself should be
Well,
enough for a lot of
because
banter.
the app, every 3 meters squared, creates a unique 3-word location string which can be converted into latitude and longitude coordinates for entry into the computer aided dispatch system in use at the OPP Provincial Communication Center.
Weird.
So if you take a step to the right, you'll get another string of words. I guess it's 3 words. And that tells the coordinates exactly where you're at.
Weird. So what are the 3 words then again? Like what?
Well, it's going to be different every 3 square meters. That's
Okay.
how it works. So it just pops up probably some kind of random generated word thing.
Oh, okay.
And it means, okay, so that's like 49,
Why
10
would-
degrees south kind of thing.
Why wouldn't it just give your location like a
Like
grid?
keep all the numbers? Like,
yeah, just keep the numbers. They could just locate you?
Well, that's a pretty good question.
Or put you on a GPS somehow, like have a little dot on a GPS where you are, and then the OPP are able to see it, just like you when you put in a location into your Google GPS on your phone, and you can see your location, and then you see you coming to it. Like, why couldn't it just do that? Like, give them a visual, and then they just keep going towards it.
I don't know if this has information in that regard.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, so the location of the three people.
There probably is a good reason for it.
Yeah.
That we just don't know yet.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the police know about this app, obviously. They're using it.
The app is available in 43 languages.
Wow.
So
there shouldn't be an excuse just because you don't speak English.
Seems like the number would solve all that if
or,
it's just stayed the degrees, but...
Yeah, that's odd. Well, they were located in good health, which is great. And I don't know where Hawk Ridge Trail is, but it's a little more than 5 kilometers from their campsite, so they're off quite a ways. And the OPP would like to remind the public that What3 apps offers for free both Android and Apple.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, that really sucks sometimes too when you hear about this really great app that someone has and you want it and you don't have the right device. They only make it for one or the other. So this one's for both at least.
Yeah. That's a good call.
Yeah. So it can be converted into latitude and longitude coordinates for entry into the computer-aided dispatch CAD system in use at the OPP. So it does convert it to longitude and latitude for them.
And here's that part that confused me before. Maybe it'll be clearer this time.
Yeah.
Even if the caller does not have the app on their mobile device, police can send a link to the caller's cell phone.
Weird.
To allow the caller to find their What3 Words location.
Okay, how does that work?
That's what I said.
So, okay, you're lost. And I guess you call 911 because you have cell phone service. Because if they're able to send you a message, you must have cell phone service.
Yeah, I guess that's the case.
Yeah. And I guess they're thinking there's no place in Northern Ontario that doesn't have cell phone service, although there are some pockets.
There must be.
Between here and Timmins, for sure.
Well, Starlink is up and running too, so that's...
yeah, that's true.
That's probably going to cover a lot of the gaps.
So someone's lost. They call 911. They tell them to give them their phone, or they have their phone number already because they're calling. And they say, okay, the OPP is going to send you a message. Look for it.
Yeah.
And in that is where they can download the app in the message. Is that what it is?
Send a link. Yeah, I guess you send a link, so you download it. And then I guess, it pops up 3 words. And then you say the words that you that you see. And then I guess that'll translate into a precise location. That's pretty precise, eh? 3 square meters.
3 square meters. That's how close they're. That way, they can have an unmanned drone at some point. Go exactly where the person is and pick you up with those specific coordinates, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Coming to a place near us. Unmanned drones rescuing people from Toronto who are out in Northern Ontario. I just thought that was interesting too, like a lot of people when you come from a larger city and you may not, being up here we experience, the outdoors probably a lot more and we're probably more prepared for things like this, but definitely if you're not and you're from the big city,
it's easy to get spun around out there too.
It is too. Sure. Yeah, you don't want to venture too far away from your campsite, even if you're from up here, because you could get lost too. So, anyways, here's a solution. As long as you have cell phone service, you can be found, and as long as you have internet service, you can watch us each and every day live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. And as long as you have a radio in your car, or at home or whatever, or on your phone, you can listen to us on CKLU. Stay tuned now on CKLU for Earshot Daily. Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
And it was a pleasant surprise for you to be here today. And one last comment from Jerome. He's got the last word today. I think I might have already shared it. So thanks for being with us, all y'all, commenting. Keep doing it each and every day, being part of the show. Make sure to like and share not only the video, but our page as well. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you, listeners and viewers. Thanks for being here. We'll see you same time, same place, right here on Monday. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News